Hello, everyone incredibly bullish about the opportunities for Tesla. Oh, it's going to go up huge now. Now is the bottom, okay. And so what they're doing is they're going into robo-taxes, and they're going to make the low-cost car. So they're making the low-cost car. Except they're making it, they have excess capacity right now. They have capacity to make 3 million cars a year. They're making 1,000,008, so 1,000,002 cars they can make extra in an existing facility with no more capital. And they're not going to make the car as direct cost, as cheaply as they did before, as they expected to, but overall, until they expect to do 5 million of these new cars. They're making cars, they make $7,000 in profit a car for a car that's owned for $35,000 minus the $7,500 credit. But I think all the cars are going to be electric. And I think this hybrid is just a sort of a holding off action so the automobile companies don't have to lose money on the electric cars. But the electric cars, I think, is going to be all the cars 10, 15 years from now. I think hybrids. I know you love hybrids. That's not going to last. Either they're too expensive to they're not effective enough. And they're not going to be part of the mix. Either it's going to be all electric. I think of it as a technology company that offers services to other companies in their own. They have data technology that makes cars cheaper than Ford. For every electric car they make, they lose $36,000. Our company now makes about $8 to $9,000 a car in profit. They used to make $5 to $1,000 a car in profit. But if they built a plant that cost $7 billion to make 1,000,000 cars, that plant was supposed to make $15 million a year. An average industrial company would make 15% on capital, and the most they'd make is 20%. This guy used to make his capital twice a year, but now he only makes it once a year. He's making $8 billion on a $7 billion plan, so he's the lowest cost person in the business. Everything else is working to drive prices down. With Tesla's impressive growth, it's not enough to just watch from the sidelines for Tesla bulls and people who are always on the lookout for the next stock market gem. Seeking Alpha has everything you need to know about Tesla. Tesla stock price goals, Tesla's new ideas, and everything. If Elon Musk clicks on one of the ad links in the description and makes a purchase, our channel may get paid. But I think SpaceX is going to be, I think we're going to make 20 times in SpaceX over the next 15 years. That I think we're going to make a quadruple in the next 6 or 7. Can it be too big? Sure. So always watching is that we're long-term investors. We visit companies in which we invest. We study the businesses, look the opportunities met on people, but we're long-term when you see the performance of the U stocks in which we've invested. But I do think that we're going to get a lot more money to manage, so therefore, it's going to get diluted down by the new money coming, and always thinking about how large the position should be. Yes, it's not so exciting to be up 1% in a year, but everything is, the market is so strong, so I don't worry about short term. But I do look around all the time and see everyone getting rich. I'm not poor, but haven't made a lot of progress in the last 3 years. So therefore, I think it's like a rubber band. I'm going to catch up again. But so what I think about the reason stock is down is because people were concerned that he was going to abandon the idea of having a low-cost car and go all into robo-taxes. That's the reason stock is down. And there was a report in Reuters said he's canceling this new factory that's going to make robocar. It's going to make a low-cost cars, $225,000 cars from China. So there's only one business in China. And by the way, that's Warren Buffett's company, which makes $1 billion a quarter. Our company, on the other hand, makes $4 billion a quarter. No one else makes money. So much money is lost by Ford in general on this. It's much harder to make these cars, which is interesting. I talked about motors yesterday. The motors in a car cost $5,000 each, which is what most of these 100-year-old companies paid. We can make a motor for $1,000, but it costs $5,000. I'm talking about companies that make cars with internal combustion engines. I'm just talking about how businesses have become so used to doing things the same way they've always done them that they don't look for new ways to do things that will make them cheaper. For example, he can do things for $1,000 that other people charge $5,000 for. It's amazing that if you wanted to be an electric car or a gasoline car company, they wouldn't try to make things better, cheaper, or faster over time. That's the idea behind show me the incentives and I'll show you how people act. That's why stock prices are falling. That's why their cars cost $250,000. They're trying to cut costs. For us, it's software. And right now, Tesla has the advantage of having sold 6 million cars, and 3.5 to 4 million of them are collecting data. That's what on my last trip to California, I visited Vail on Sunday to see what they're doing with AI, the mountain and capital spending. That was on FR. That on Monday, I met with engineers and finance people at SpaceX in Los Angeles in the morning. In the afternoon, I went to Tesla to meet with people who work on autonomous driving and computers. And they told me, Ron, would you like to see how work has made unbelievable progress? The first 11 versions had to be made so that they could code everything that happened, so they weren't making any progress for 2 or 3 years. Now that they have version 12, they have all this huge data and the computing power to figure out that humans can't do it. So now you're almost there with self-driving cars. So I said, show me. So we did the few hours. Then I said, I want to see how it works. So we got in, and I had an analyst with me. Then they had a compute person and an investor person. While we were in the car, I said, I want to see Steve Jobs' house. So I told him the address, and the car took off. We didn't do anything but punch it in. There's traffic going both ways. So the car looks in both directions for an opening to get in, finds one, pulls in, makes a left turn, and drives right behind the cars in front of us. There's a stop sign, so the first car stops. The second car stops, and we pull up to it. The car looks in both directions, makes a right turn, and then just drives. Suddenly, a pedestrian crosses the street, and the driver stops to let the pedestrian cross. The person walking, I'm not sure if I was missiled, but the pedestrian waves, the car starts moving again, it stops, turns left, and then goes in front of Steve Jobs' house. It's a nice house. I was expecting a house. It was just a house. So it stopped in front of Steve Jobs' house, and he and his wife live in the house next door. They had what looked like 3/4 of an acre for sale next door for $15 million, and they don't go back through V by itself. So what's going to happen is that I thought the idea was that they'd sell a lot of cars. Once they have those cars on the road, they'll sell self-driving features. And he said the other day that he's in talks to sell these features on other cars as well. Seeking Alpha is the best website for pro-Tesla news on the web. Click the affiliate link in the text below to get the most up-to-date price targets for Tesla offerings. New ideas and everything Elon Musk, there is a link in the description to a very special offer about how it's the safest car ever built in the world. About a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks ago, a man drove his Tesla off a cliff 250 feet above the ground, trying to kill himself and his 2 daughters. The car flies off the cliff and crashes to the bottom. The Tesla's roof is 30 to 40% stronger than any other roof, and the car's center of gravity is in the middle, not the front. It rolls out of the bottom of the hill, and everyone looks down. Then they lower people down and open the doors. People were fine. They were so unheard. I told him to test text about this and tell people that if they want to commit suicide, they shouldn't be driving a Tesla.